We are here at the original site of the General Henry Knox house in Thomaston, Maine. It was called Montpelier, and this property came into his hands through his wife's family. Almost 500,000 acres up here in now is known as Knox County, and the only thing that's left of the house, of the buildings here, is what is now the Thomaston Historical Society. And there is a replica of the house. It's quite a magnificent mansion that's just a short distance from here. It's open pretty much during the spring and summer and early fall. And there are some actual remains or some things that belong to the Knox family. The house here was built in 1793. Henry Knox died in 1806. His wife lived there until her death in 1820 or so, and then they had a daughter that lived there. The house was then in disrepair and somewhat abandoned, and it was torn down in 1871, and it was quite a magnificent place overlooking the St. George River, which you can't see right now because it's a boat yard. Actually, they make boats here. Believe it or not, they still make boats in Maine. And anyway, the Daughters of the American Revolution got together in 1928 after an ancestor, I should say, a relative of the Knoxes, offered to give a lot of the belongings of Henry Knox to the house if they built it. So they built pretty much an exact replica, and a fireproof replica in 1928-29, which is where you can visit today. And Henry Knox was one of the founding fathers, and Henry Knox was a Boston book dealer. He was born in Boston in 1750. Learned about artillery and engineering by simply reading the books in his store, and was very much a patriot. He married the daughter of a Tory, and the daughter, of course, Lucy, very close. They were a very close couple. And when George Washington assumed command of the Continental Army, Henry, of course, offered his services, and his famous trip to Fort Ticonderoga to bring the cannons across New York and Massachusetts, over 200 miles in some very bad weather, was an incredible feat. He was also in Trenton and served with Washington pretty much throughout the war. He later became the first Secretary of War. Fort Knox is named after him, of course, and here, as I mentioned earlier, Knox County. And he retired here in 1795 and died at a relatively young age of in 1806. Was quite beloved by people who knew him. Even the Indians here had a great respect for him. And again, I look at him as one of the important founding fathers. Without him, we may not have won the war for independence. So a great place to visit if you're ever up in the Maine. This is off of Route 1 in Thomaston, a nice little seafaring town, as they say.